Hello, All-Star listeners, and welcome to a very special bonus episode of the Veterinary Roundtable presented by All-Star Veterinary Clinic. There are two elements that make this episode special, Duckwall.
What is it?
It's the celebration of a new year.
Yeah.
And for the first time in the show's history, we have our spouses with
Oh
us
my gosh.
as guests.
We
About
finally roped them in.
Yep.
About time.
The hot seats.
The hot seats.
Everyone's been waiting for
We are
this.
pretty hot, Richie, aren't we?
We are hot in a firecracker or a $2 pistol.
As you may have guessed, in this episode we will not be answering your veterinary related questions, but instead discussing with our spouses what it is like to live and partner with someone in the veterinary field, the struggles, the perks, and the quirks.
God help us.
If you have a question, icebreaker, or topic discussion for the Veterinary Roundtable, send it to harrison@all-starvet.com. Now let's introduce our guests.
All right. On today's episode, we have myself, co-host and associate veterinarian, Dr. Ashlyn Duckwall, my husband, hot man over there, regional manager in sales, Charles Duckwall, ex-co-founder of All-Star Veterinary Clinic and financial guru turned retiree, Dr. King's husband, Richard King, and my co-host, my partner in crime, the hostess with the mostest, Dr. Emily King. Yep. How are you guys doing?
Fabulous.
Feeling good?
Yeah.
Okay. That's great.
Thanks for asking. How are you doing?
Yeah, how are you guys doing today?
We're doing great.
I'm good. I'm tired. It's the end of
It's the end of the day today.
As
Well-
the year starts to come wind down.
Well, we have been doing the podcast during the day, and then this episode, to be able to get you guys on it, we had to do it at the end of the
A lot of
day.
loopholes.
Because we're
a
busy
lot of
men.
Busy men,
Yeah,
To do.
financial guruing, and
in order
all
to
that
get
stuff.
penciled into your calendars.
yeah. We had to make arrangements in our
Exactly.
schedule.
Thanks for squeezing us in.
Yep.
No problem.
Making exceptions.
Glad to have you guys here.
Let's jump into the nitty gritty. None
Let's
of
do
this
it.
small chat.
No small
Okay.
chat.
No small chat.
No chit chat.
Get rid of the papers.
That's oh my god.
I'm not
We
going to
gotta
remember
do the
the questions.
Bring it back.
Give it back. Okay.
Okay, the first one. How did both of you meet, aka spouses?
Oh boy.
Are you going to answer that question?
Of course I'll answer it. But do you want to add it? Did you want to lead? Or?
I'll edit as you answer.
Okay.
Tactic.
The way that we met was
No, no, I'm just kidding.
we had I had gone on spring break with a guy named Richard, and he happened to be dating her roommate at the time. And Richard and I had gone to Applebee's on Cedar Bluff in Knoxville to just for drinks.
I was gonna say
What's that?
the metropolis of
Yeah.
Applebee's.
We went there. We were at the bar, and then the classes had just ended for them. And you're finishing second year, right?
Third.
No,
Okay, yeah. Whatever you say. Third,
Second
second.
year.
Okay.
So anyway, so Dana, who was Emily's roommate, showed up to tell Richard goodbye because she was going back to Nashville, and Emily's going back to Indiana, and another girl was with them. And then that's how I was introduced to Emily at the time. So that's how we met.
And sparks flew.
They flew. I was
your heart
blinded
fell
by her
out.
beauty right there.
Wow.
It's like, God,
So what was your pickup line?
what's that?
He didn't have a pickup line. He was sitting at the bar, and he had his Tennessee blue hat with orange tea on it and a little mustache.
The mustache got you.
And I told Dana, that guy's cute, to have me introduce that to that guy or whatever. And Dana said, okay. And so then her friend, Richard, gave me his phone number. I'm the one who actually called him.
Oh.
Interesting.
I
And
see
then
some
Richard and then
commonalities.
Richard said, he came back to me and he goes, Emily just wants to date you when she comes back to school. I was like, really? Okay. All right. So and then he was telling you the same thing.
Yeah, it was just a bunch of.
A lot
But
of
then we
he
got
said,
back
she
together,
said.
and then she came back to school in August, and we started dating and got engaged the following March and married the following December.
So see, it was third year.
No, it wasn't.
It was.
Let's do the replay. You seen those commercials?
Oh
where they
yeah,
throw out
throw the flag.
replay?
We need the replay.
It was not third year. You did not finish third year because you didn't. You were in fourth year the year we got married. So we dated. We started dating your third year.
Okay, maybe you're right.
We lose what's called social brain cells in vet school.
Yeah.
We only retain knowledge.
Yeah.
Of,
It's kind of like you have
stuff.
to dump some of it out.
yeah, you need to save room. So I guess
So,
that was one of them.
That's
So
how we
sorry.
met. And we go back. We've been back to that Applebee's a couple times.
Not to eat in it, mind you.
I took
To
Johnny
do what? To do what in it?
Just to walk by it.
to walk in.
Oh, okay.
Table for two. No, we're just here to reminisce. Thanks.
We're just here to, no.
So it's funny because I took Johnny there a few years ago for because we were staying at the Embassy Suites.
Yeah.
Here across country, and we went to the Applebee's that we met in and walked in. We had dinner. Terrible food. I mean, just the food
Really?
was not good.
Oh,
It's not good. So it's funny how in college everything is very different as you get older and actually have good quality food.
yeah.
You go and you go, this is quality. Yeah, casual dining. Gross.
Or it's just your love for her. All food
That's
lost its
what it
taste.
is. Well, we were there for the beer mostly, not so much for the food.
There you go.
Yeah.
That always tastes
Did
good.
they do the after 9 half price appetizers when you guys were in college? Because they did when I was, and that was
No, but we had happy hours in Tennessee.
Happy
like
hours.
2 for 1 drinks.
Happy
and
hours
stuff.
are dangerous. Yes,
there. You go.
they used to
Solid.
bring us this big, the big tall
Yeah.
32s or whatever. Yeah. So
Nice.
Sweet.
Yep.
All right, you're up.
So we met. I'll start by saying I saw her from across the room,
Across the room.
and I have so we were at a wedding, mutual friend, her childhood, like family best friends, and my college and shortly after college roommate that I lived with were getting married. So cocktail hour before the wedding, had a few scotch and sodas in me.
oof.
And I saw like this group of attractive brunette gals, and I was like, I saw her, and I was like, I have a buddy who says I stated she was going to be my wife.
Oh, excellent.
My memory is that I stated I'm going to make her my girlfriend, but revisionist history will go with wife, whatever. So later that night,
I like that better
finally,
anyway.
I play it cool. I don't like walk up straight up to her. I get a few more scotch and sodas in me.
Start off real good.
Yes.
Make sure,
Real clear headed.
But you're talking. Yes.
So you stagger over there. You don't really walk so much.
I need to knock myself down a few pegs.
Right.
So I approach her when they're doing the garter toss, and I just ask her if she would watch my drink, because I don't want to spill it when I try to catch the garter. Stand in the back, have no interest of catching the garter. Don't catch it. Walk back over to her, and we just start talking. And her brother-in-law is like standing next to her, going,
Yeah, giving me that.
nodding.
Because
like
I
this-
looked, I'm like,
this
what am I
geeky,
supposed to do with this?
nod,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, whatever. He seems cool, and we
Yeah.
start talking and go get a drink together and
Yep.
dance together. I meet like her whole family, and they're all half cocked on their libations, and yeah, we just have a grand.
You met my
old
whole
night.
family day one.
Day one with
Yeah.
the whole fam.
Literally the whole family.
Planned the
And,
wedding, day one.
Yeah.
Just like, we'll see you guys back
well,
here.
I wouldn't say I had her because I had a work phone and a personal phone, and I left my personal phone in the car, and I had my work phone, and it died. And I kept going outside to smoke cigars with the groom and his dad and watch the Pacers playoff game
Really
against the
clean
Heat.
health.
It was a
Clean
really
bill of
big- It
health.
was a really
Right.
big night. There were a lot of things going on. So I gave her my number because my phone was dead. Legitimately, my phone was dead. It was not an excuse. And
And
you
then,
finally reached out.
well, yeah, I was like, I don't want to text this guy. So my sister took my phone and texted him for me.
Right?
And then that's how the conversation started. And then we set up a date, and I was like, I don't want to go on this date. And my best friends were like, just go. We get a free meal out of it. So I did. And then, no joke, first date, we both called my best friend, his brother or something, and
dad.
said,
Called my dad.
Dad.
Yeah.
We were like, yep, this is it.
Oh wow.
We knew the first date we were going to.
We both ordered a sweet tea.
Yeah, and that was love at first sight.
Yeah.
Sweet tea's really reel you in.
There you go. That's when you
I was
knew.
early.
You don't need alcohol. You just need sweet tea.
Duck walls are not early to anything. You know this.
Yeah.
But I was early to the first date. I'd sat down, I'd ordered a sweet tea, and then she came in like 5 minutes later and was like, I'll get a sweet tea. And I was like, I got a sweet tea. And we're like,
Fireworks.
I got sweet teas. Forever. We're going to be
Forever.
And the restaurant we met at or had our first date at was called Dickie's Wild Hare in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Barbecue.
If you're ever in Fort Wayne, go to Dickie's Wild Hare.
There you go.
Okay.
I don't even know if it's still open. Great barbecue though.
I was like, okay.
She danced. She danced that night.
Okay. Anyways.
Okay.
What was our first date? Like legit first date.
our legit first date was someplace where we went in your red truck that didn't have air conditioning, and it was raining.
It was a cheap truck.
And the windows were
was brand
fogging
new.
up. And you went to go get money out of the ATM,
Oh, this
and
is a
you
great
couldn't
story.
get any money out of the ATM.
And I never get. She looks at me like, really?
Oh no.
So I put
And-
my check in like on a Friday, and it just didn't hit the account until that was back in the day before things were. So I remember I was like, great, I'm totally blown at this girl here. This terrible truck and no money. Winner, winner flag.
Well, here you are now.
Yeah, I know. No
5
worries.
people in business later.
That's right.
5
Yeah.
people.
5 people.
You made 5 people.
That's right. That's right. Exactly.
Okay, you want to do number 2? You threw your paper away.
Oh, sorry. Okay, yes. And my excitement. Number 2. When we told you we were in the when we told you we were in veterinary school, what was your first thought?
Go ahead.
She didn't tell me she was in veterinary school because she wasn't in veterinary school.
She wasn't in
told
veterinary
me-
school.
She told me she wanted to be a veterinarian, and I said she's either getting really good grades and way smarter than me, or she might not make it. I don't know, but like I was pretty confident she'd do well. She was a D1 athlete, and I was like, yep, she's probably smarter than me, more driven than me, but in general, all good marks for me. Like, someone who is hoping to do good in life and have a good education and serve other people. So
I remember. What I remember is when I was like, I really am going to apply to vet school. You're like, give me 5 years. Don't do it right now. Give me 5
Oh, yeah,
years
I
to
did
get
say
my
that.
job going.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah.
I just wanted to be able to pay for it without like taking
Ah.
the debt. That's what my logic was.
Right.
But
Oh, too late.
worked out.
That's right. Worked out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Here we are.
I think when you told me that, I actually had to think about this because I don't remember being struck by anything other than your background was very different from mine. And I mean, you're just more driven, more intelligent, all that stuff.
I'm not more intelligent than you, for sure. You're way smarter.
No, but
than
you
I
got
am.
better grades.
Yes,
you got way
but
better
you're
grades
way
than I did.
smarter than me. You just didn't apply yourself.
Well, what?
Right? That's why your
And
grades
there
were
it
good.
is.
No. Well, I don't know.
And this
You
is the
could have gotten
history.
like straight A's in high school and in college.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not that I didn't apply myself. I just didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to study. And when I learned how to study, then I did get straight A's.
I know.
It started to kill it.
Yep.
But it was funny because she was in veterinary school. Her sister was in law school. Her brother-in-law was a neurosurgeon. I'm like,
Oh, wow.
I'm a cashier at Sam's. How you guys doing? Nice to meet you. That's a true story.
You were working
That's
at
awesome.
Sam's.
I was a
That's right.
cashier at Sam's. Yeah,
That's all right.
I'm sure I could totally pull an Emily Stein going. Are you sure about this? Or-
You were working your way through school.
I was. I
So-
worked all
And what was
the
your
time.
degree? What did you end up doing?
Undergrad is business, major in finance.
Yeah.
And I went to banking after that for
Nice.
a while. So yeah, and then grad school and all that stuff. So I caught up. Just took a bit.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
Yep.
It's okay. At least you got there.
That's right.
well, it's funny. I was actually thinking about this a bit more, and I didn't grow up with pets, so I never really went to the vet. So I didn't really have an opinion, really one way or the other.
Yeah.
Other than it was grad school, it was the medical field. You must be intelligent. All these things, So
Did you know that veterinarians are doctors?
yes, I did know that.
It's a legit question.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't know people.
Some
didn't
people
know
out there think we're not. So
That's funny.
I'm just
Yeah,
Sorry
that's
for
true.
fix that thought right there.
Well, the DR period in front of their name generally gives it away.
Yeah. You would think. Okay. All right. Number 3. What's it like being a husband to a veterinarian? The best parts, the hardest parts. Start with the good, the bad, and the ugly.
This is going to be. This sounds like I'm blowing smoke, but being married to Emily as a veterinarian is never difficult. It was never difficult
Yeah.
because you're so good at it. It was never like
Not that part. It was hard in the beginning, don't you think?
Well, yeah, when we did the business, it was hard, but it wasn't like
Starting with the good.
as a veterinarian though. It wasn't like I don't remember it being any more difficult necessarily than when you were in school. Well, it's true.
Is that
No,
how you
it's-
feel?
That's good. Yeah, I think
Did you put on a brave face?
Yeah, I think
You never
so.
really brought work home with. It was never like that.
Yeah, no.
Emily has a very. I'm going to again. Brag on her a bit. She has an uncanny ability to get respect from people who otherwise aren't in the habit of respecting people below them.
Yeah.
And I think that served her very well in her career prior to the clinic, because veterinarians, like owners of companies, would say, I don't generally respect people's, say, surgical skills, but I do respect hers. So it was never like, Emily was always on a different level.
Yeah.
It's just very different. So,
Still is.
Yeah, still is.
Oh,
So, I mean,
yeah.
so it's not.
We'll toot that horn.
True.
That is not true.
Oh.
I'm making it up. No, I'm not.
No, I think that it was always just my personality. And I figured out a way
and skill
to
set. I think that your background, I think you
No,
think, and maybe
I-
you share this too. I think your athletic background, all those things set you apart from so many of your peers,
maybe.
made you very unique.
It's a different mentality, I think, going from you have to be a team player, you have to learn how to win and lose and fight for what the victory and stuff like that. So I definitely think it's
Yeah,
a
I do.
different
Yeah.
exposure to a different mindset.
Oh yeah,
Than,
I think for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that definitely taught us something
yes.
for sure. Absolutely.
so there are no hardest parts.
Well, that's very nice of you.
It was always,
that's
it was always
so
good.
nice.
It was always good.
Wow.
And then there was the business.
No, but that's
That's a different story.
In a related note, though, I mean, I think that was always, in retrospect, after all those years, I mean, the greatest part of that whole experience was the chase, the constant chase. And it was always there from day one to be great, just to make it to that next level. And I mean, so yeah, I mean, that skill set carried forward with the business, and that's why I was so successful.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure. You didn't just stop at a certain place and say, "Oh, that's good enough."
no,
Like
never.
Has the chase stopped?
No,
There's the key.
it's paused.
It's paused.
You're in the S curve, guys.
That's right.
You got to the master. You mastered it, right? And now you're starting somewhere new, a little bit different, and you're just back. You're back at the bottom.
I don't think you should ever stop. I think you should always be chasing greatness, either personally, professionally. There should be something.
Yeah.
I think that, if you lose that purpose, I think that's generally not good long term. I think that you need to always be pushing. It doesn't mean you need to kill yourself all the time, but I mean, always use your own creativity and your wisdom. And I think that's what's lost, is that so many people think, oh, well, you're XYZ age. I mean, you're kind of spent. No, think about those decades of business knowledge you have that are so valuable, that set you apart from somebody. I mean, just like when we started the clinic, I didn't know what I was doing. Regardless, I mean, no matter, even though the education that I had and everything, I've said this 1,000 times, you just don't know what you're doing because you haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
Versus someone who has done it. I have a completely different perspective on that whole process and the end game and that chase than someone who's starting out. I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. Sounds a lot like vet med.
right, yeah.
You don't know what you're doing when you start off.
Yep. Exactly. Fake it till you make it.
That's right. That's right. Okay.
Long answer to a short question. Sorry.
So
That's
the
what we're here
answer to
for.
the
We're
question-
here to get into your brains and hear the deep thoughts of the men.
Yes.
You don't want into my concussed brain. I would say vet school was hard, because we got married before vet school started. So the first year was great, honeymoon stage, life is good. And I don't know if every vet school is the same. I don't know if year 2 is like the worst year for every school or if it's different based on curriculum. But Purdue, year 2 is the worst year to be married to anybody ever. You're not going to see each other. You're not going to eat at the same time. You're just...
Which is so interesting to me because I never felt year 2 was the hardest.
Well, it wasn't the hardest for you, academically. It was just hard for us because you had so much to do and your schedule was so much different. We were just like 2 ships passing in the night, basically. Yeah. And I was traveling for work and she was doing vet school stuff all the time. So year 2 was rough. Year 3 was a little better. I think year 4 was tough too.
Just that 4th year, clinics
you were
and
just working crazy hours.
Getting calls in the middle of the night and surgery. And
Yep.
And then you get through school and you think, oh, she's a doctor now. This is going to be awesome. She's going to make money. She's going to be able to come home for dinner. She's going to just generally contribute around the house.
Little did you
and
know.
then it's no, this is worse.
It's the worst.
It's the fifth year
she is
of vet
still
school.
not doing laundry.
I don't have clean underwear this week. Okay, no, but
It's the fifth year.
It was just like it's a learning process, like anything, and we've adjusted, and now it's amazing. Like,
Yeah, when you find the groove and you figure out how to do it, why you do it, all that stuff, like you find a groove.
and it's more.
I
like,
think after the year after school was the hardest for sure.
yeah, that was tough.
100%.
Yeah,
because it's all new.
Yeah, and it's hard. Like if you're both like we're both adjusting to new careers at the same time, that's hard.
Yep.
Whereas when she got out of vet school, I was pretty established in my role at work, and she was still learning something. So it was a little easier for me because I knew what I was doing and could kind of pick up where she couldn't do stuff. And like, you know, we didn't have kids like you crazy kids over there, but yeah, we figured it out, and it's good. I mean, honestly, it's fun. Like I love when she comes home and tells stories and has crazy stories that she doesn't tell on the podcast, and they hear before I hear them. But yeah, it's fun. It's good stuff.
Is that the best part, that it's fun?
Is that the best part? I mean, the best part is that I can ask you what's faster, an ostrich or a leopard.
And I still say, I don't know. And then he goes, what did you go to school for?
I know that more.
Vet school is failing us all. That's all I have to say. I ask her all these questions, and she doesn't have all the
They're
answers.
all stupid questions.
They're important things.
I've asked Emily, it's like, look at this thing on my leg. She goes, I don't have it. I was like, you're a doctor, right? I'm an animal. Come on. What does this look like?
Yeah, right?
Nope.
Looks like you need to go see a doctor.
And then you try to insert yourself with your medical knowledge, and then it just, nobody likes that. Human doctors don't like when we do that. We don't like when they do it to us. So
That's right.
let's not cross paths.
Exactly. Stay in the lane.
Stay in your lane.
I'm an animal.
It's true. You're a mammal. Okay. What's the next one?
What's the funniest story you've been told in veterinary medicine?
Charles is so excited.
I'm so excited for this question.
Go ahead.
No, I want to.
I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
like funniest story, like a story that I've been told.
Yeah, like I've come home probably. Is that that's what we're thinking?
Yeah.
And I've told you.
Is vet med that funny, Richie?
It's
don't laugh a
hilarious.
lot. I feel like it's always like you had to be there. I don't know, type of thing.
Lost context.
It kind of is.
They're like dying laughing, like, I don't get it. You're explaining it ain't funny.
Yeah. So
I mean, there's loads of like funny things that have happened over the years, but it's all like other things, like, you know, things that I've done or what do you think? I mean, I don't know.
This is a question for you. Do you have anything that you thought was funny that I came home and told you about?
I can't think of anything.
Do you think it's mostly because it's been so long since we've owned the business, like that's kind of like stripped out everything else?
I don't remember.
When I was just a veterinarian.
I remember you practicing. I don't remember you ever coming home with. Now, it's not to say you didn't. I just don't remember any of the stories because I mean, we opened the business 19 years ago.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a long time. I mean, tons of like
That's a lot of stories.
Yeah, a lot of things that happened in the business
Right.
happened to me or whatever. But things that you did. But I mean, we got loads of stories.
What's the funniest story about the business? Do you remember?
I got a few. There was once we had I used to work. We used to have boarding, and I came in one Sunday to work the kennel alone, and I went to let this dog out, and I was going to put him out in the yard to let him walk around, and open the thing, and the dog just goes out, and I was like, okay. So I turned around, I was doing something because that would happen. They would get out and they just kind of mill around. Hey, what's going on? So I go and I look in the prep room and it's up on the counter.
Oh no.
Going, I was like, oh, okay, shut that door there. And then I had to call her to come up because they didn't put a sign on it that said it was this this dude aggressive or whatever.
Dude aggressive.
I was like, this is gonna rip my head off.
Most of the stories are from boarding. Tell them the story about the Westie or whatever the dog is. That
It was a Scotty.
Scotty.
So we used to have a play yard in the middle of where it is now, and a fence around it where you put the dogs in and let them play or whatever, And there was a Scotty in there, black Scotty, and I walked in there to do something. I was doing like getting a toy or something. It just comes over and goes around my leg, bit my leg. I was like, "What? I didn't do anything."
It just bit you out of nowhere.
Bit my knee. I'm like, dude,
That's his toy, bro.
It was hilarious.
Or we used to have like these two boxers that would come in. They would board with us, and every time I'd see them on the scale, I was like, oh, because that was back when we had to leash walk all the dogs, and they would never go to the bathroom. So if you came in on Sunday, good luck, buddy.
Oh,
because they had used it as a toilet.
Cheyenne and
Chopper and Cheyenne. I remember being down there with a scraper, scraping and going, I went to grad school for this, huh? All right.
Oh, that's
better be a pal at some point.
Oh gosh, yeah. Oh, hey, May.
In fact, and it's funny because I was thinking about this story today in light of this terrible weather we have coming. We were closed. February was always a horrible month because you would get snow. You would close. It's a short month. I'm freaking out because you're not making any money.
Yeah.
So I think it was a February. We closed for a day because the weather was horrible and it was like -5 or whatever. But we had dogs up here boarding, so I just came over here and hung out all day. And every I don't know, a couple hours, I'd take them out to go to the bathroom. And I remember I had put on my my ski bibs and everything. I'm walking these little dogs out there going, you have about 30 seconds because I'm going back in. It's freezing and you're going to die out here. So come on.
Cat'll freeze outside.
Oh gosh, it makes me laugh because you went from somebody who never had dogs inside their house,
Yes.
to somebody
Never
who's
did.
now caring for dogs. It's just funny.
Especially when there's a lot when you're boarding. It's a whole different
Oh, it's a
ballgame.
whole-
You'd walk in there at 7 a.m. on a Sunday and it would just erupt and you're just like, it was, but we had it down though. That was the fun part though, because when we started that, we knew what we wanted to offer, but our processes were just all over the place. And by the end, it was dialed in. You could get in and you could get every side cleaned with 15, 20 minutes.
Nice.
Cleaned, they're outside, back in, being fed. So it worked out well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was something. I mean, boy, all the things. Stories for days. You learn more than you can possibly imagine.
I'm glad we don't do boarding
Yes.
anymore.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
Yep.
Well, it's funny how the world changed so much just between 2003 and 2017 when we stopped doing it.
It was 2017, I think.
Yeah, I mean, because when we started, it was very we wanted a one-stop shop. I mean, we had boarding, grooming, vet med, and over time, it just and that's just the natural kind of evolution of things. It just you start to say, well, what's our core skill set? What do we want to focus on?
Yeah.
And when we saw the competitors around us, I mean, what they offered, it was like, I don't really feel like we can offer that kind of value add. So, and just how different. I remember when we first opened, there was nothing here on this corridor. Remember? No Kroger. There was nothing. There was Westfield Lighting and the place across the street, Hamilton Crossing. That's it. The rest are farmhouses and when I remember we did advertise. Remember the Yellow Pages people used to bug us to death, and they were like, well, "Don't you want this?" I was like, "Nope, line item. Don't want it."
Gosh.
You hear his horror stories. People were like spend tens of thousands a year on the Yellow or whatever.
Yeah.
And how the world is because the internet was there, but and it was very still traditional media. Radio, TV, print.
Yeah.
And that was it. So we'd buy ads, remember? Buy ads in the Noblesville Ledger. Is that what it was? And you'd do that. And I mean, we actually did some television advertising and people saw it, but didn't do anything.
Yeah.
It didn't, they came and shot a few ads. We were always trying to be creative and do things differently to reach that market. And now it's just totally wide open with micro-targeting of things. And it's very different.
Now we got the tickety talk.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tickety talk.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
They used to go to school. When did you guys stop going to like elementary schools?
COVID kind of helped us with that.
Yeah.
But that was a big marketing thing, remember?
Yep.
Yeah, because
So-
I did a couple sessions pre-COVID. All those kiddies running around.
So
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, good
Okay.
journey. Sorry, wrong answer again.
Nope, love it.
Good
Okay,
stories.
Charles,
Good
what's-
stories about
Yeah.
poop, Richie.
I know, right?
So my story isn't really so much a story. Ashlyn shared it
fact.
with me. It's a fact that Ashlyn learned.
Apparently.
It's a fact. What do you mean apparently? She
I don't
acts like
remember the details of this.
See, this is just like, it might be traumatic to Ashlyn because it's a memory she's pushed into her subconscious and no longer acknowledges that it's real. But this is a real fact that she came home in vet school and told me about. She made the mistake of telling me about this fact.
Yes, because this is how I hear about it all the time.
All the time.
Please share.
All
This
the
is how I
time?
remember it because
When's
you
the
talk
last
about
time I
it.
told this story?
Probably like this year
Probably
for
like
sure.
6 to 9 months ago. Anyway,
Okay. Yep, this year.
barely this year.
Okay.
Give it a week, it'll be last year. So it has to do with, I forget which class it was. It wasn't like husbandry,
It was
or something,
bovine.
but it was bovine. Yeah, okay, it was bovine. I knew it was bovine, but they're talking about like when they give birth and the ease of the birth that they have is based on the scrotal circumference of the father. So the professor says,
What?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So the professor says that the ease of a female of a birth that a female is giving is based directly on the scrotal circumference of that mother's father. And so the professor then says, and that's true for all mammals.
Oh no.
Think about it.
The mother's father or the mother's
father. So
Wait a minute, who came up with this? That's what I want to
Exactly.
know.
Where's
He's out
the
there with a
science?
tape measure going, oh boy.
hey, I'm just saying, if your wife's kids are just, on a skid and they're coming out real easy, then
That's thanks to her
then
father.
You know your father-in-law is packing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a funny story for you.
Literally, I would have forgotten this after I told him.
After you
it.
told him, you would have forgotten it the next week.
He
but
won't.
no,
I
you
can't.
can't let it go.
I can't not
It's a
hear
valuable fact.
I will never not be able to. That's like the party fact of my life for the
Yep.
rest of my life.
Yep, it really
until
is.
a better one comes along, but come on.
Yeah.
That's vet
you-
school for you.
Yeah, exactly. That,
You learn
that sums
weird
up
ass
vet school.
facts.
There you go. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
it. I mean,
That's amazing.
I share what I can.
Science.
Science. There you go.
Oh god.
Oh, that's hilarious.
That was
Yeah.
something else that was very different about our education because I was in the business school and it was very, this, that, and the other. When I met her, it was just a completely different world and it's very different. I mean, because you learn things like that, we're talking
Yeah.
about portfolio analysis, we're talking about
Right.
scrotal circumference. And we're like, what?
Yeah, I was in business school. It was boring.
Right.
Like, it was kind of boring.
Yeah.
And then I did communications classes, and I was like, this is a little less boring. And then she's in vet school, and I'm like, that sounds fun.
Actually, another,
So when the professor said that, did anybody raise their hand and go, yeah, you mean really for all mammals? Like, did anybody?
No, because she made the joke. She was like, "Yeah, think about that." Like she,
Oh, so she like basically insinuated that was.
Yes.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would just
And-
like to point out that Dr. Duckwall just all of a sudden remembered that the professor was talking about this.
it was a
because the
Charles
memory
Coming
lives.
back.
It's living.
Oh gosh. Too
There you have it. You learn weird stuff.
That's right.
Okay, if you were a veterinarian for a day, what would you do?
You should say what you said earlier.
Resign. Just kidding.
As for your money back.
Right.
I
I don't know. I can't imagine being a veterinarian. Can you?
No.
No, not at all.
There's nothing you would
Yeah,
want
nothing
to do.
you think would be cool to do.
I mean, I don't know. Ultrasounds and X-rays seem cool, but like,
Okay.
I don't know that there's anything.
You don't want to cut anything out of anybody or like
Nah.
anybody or anything. 'cause-
anything, or
I think X-rays would be cool. I don't know how you guys put gowns on the dogs or have them put,
Like, I think it's absolutely amazing what y'all
we
do.
don't count the dogs.
Yeah.
it's a joke. Of course I know you don't put gowns on dogs.
I didn't know if you knew that or not. We
Put
don't.
the little lead,
actually-
put the,
should
put
gown
the little,
dogs. You
put
should.
the little lead things around the neck,
If people put sweaters on their dogs, you should definitely get them.
I know. you can't
Listen, they
know.
do have those little, when you go and get a procedure done and they give you those little socks.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got those for dogs.
They're non-slip, right?
Non-slip socks.
It's all about fall prevention. here.
You give them a little hairnet thing
Oh
too.
god.
Some of that lead would suffocate our animals.
I know.
It's so heavy if you just laid it on them.
gosh.
Yeah, they just fall to the ground, just crumple. I don't know if I was a veterinarian for a day, if there's anything I would necessarily. I think I would really key in on like the people aspect and probably mess with people a little
Yeah.
bit. Like freak them out if I didn't like them.
It's very
I
serious.
don't think that's going to be.
It's a hangnail. It's very serious.
business approach.
This is a very.
I'm going to refer you to Dr.
issue.
Miller over here.
I mean, look, I'm assuming that I know it's just a day, and it's like basically.
Oh, you get to then
So you're just
yeah.
going to screw up everything.
Exit the
we-
premises.
Right. You're out.
We're done.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have a good thought there, really.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Richie, what about you?
X-rays and ultrasound.
X-rays and ultrasound. That's like the most boring
I know
part of our
that's
job.
so boring.
Is it?
Yes, it's horrible.
Yeah. We don't even take the X-rays. We just look at them.
Yeah, I know. You have people to do that for you. That's why.
That's why you say, would it be cool to take x-rays? It's like, I've seen it done. No, it's not fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
Wow.
Sorry.
Anticlimactic. I'd be. I want to take things out. I want to open them up. I want to fix
Yeah.
things, save lives.
That's why you're the veterinarian.
I know, right? It's like, I no desire. In fact, a story I remember. Do you remember the story? We got Chinese one night. You were on some rotation fourth year. And I bring Chinese into the
ICU.
Yeah, ICU. I walk in, we're sitting there and, you get the food out and it smells pretty rough. And we're sitting there, I was like, okay, we're going to eat in here. Okay. We're going to do it. And this one of your classmates brings a cat in that is not in good shape. And I was like, oh, all right. We're eating it. What are we doing again? I was like, this is horrible.
It's like when we just saw poop diarrhea or had poop all over us or something. We're just like, wash my hands.
Well, I didn't
I'll go.
say
It's
that.
time for
but
lunch.
Yeah.
but that's
Somebody
what
grab my
actually
lunch,
happened. This
please.
cat comes in. It was just, and it's common to them because they're, that's what they're doing. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh boy, this is rough scare.
That sucks for that cat. Okay. We're on our last one already.
Last question.
Groovin'.
What advice would you give to a veterinarian's partner, whether they're in school, starting out, or already in the field?
I could say a lot. I probably shouldn't.
No, this is what the podcast is for.
Yes, you should say.
Maybe
like,
some people need to hear your advice, Richie.
yeah.
What percentage of the veterinarian profession is male and versus female? Is it like 70-30?
No.
82%.
80-20?
82% are women.
82% is female.
Wow.
So this is
Pulled
like
that one out of your hat.
This is like a convo Richie and I are having. Like, if you have a wife, fiance, or girlfriend in vet school, you should listen to Richie right
Run very fast. Just kidding. You know those shoes you just bought the other day? Put them on and start running.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so he's not disagreeing with that. No. So what advice would you give people?
Okay, being the business / financial person, I must say that there has to be a positive return on the amount of money that you spend to enter an industry. I probably should stop talking right now. It's probably not. It's not, and that's the tough part about vet med.
Yeah.
Is that it costs so much to enter the field that you have to be. If I was to give advice, I would say you've got to be patient, and it's got to be a long-term thing. You are not going to make this is not going to appear to be a good decision for probably a couple decades.
Until you retire.
Probably. Well, maybe. It depends. I mean, some of the stuff.
Until your loan forgiveness 25 years later.
I mean, because and I say that in jest, but the sums of money are so large that it could negatively affect everything. I mean,
Your ability to buy a house.
your ability to buy a house, retirement. Do you retire? Can you retire after servicing that debt for that long? What does that do to your? And that's why I say that's a decision you've got to think awfully hard about. Because there is, unless you're going to go and own your own business and increase that potential income stream, I mean, you're eventually going to cap out. I mean, you make X, so what do you know what I'm saying?
So what advice are you giving the partners of the veterinarians?
now. Financially plan.
Yeah, and get rice and beans, get used to it.
That's not bad advice though.
No, seriously, it's like
really
because
good.
you have if you can go and take all, like, say I've got a 5-year plan, I'm going to be debt free from any student debt, regardless of field, whatever it is you go into within 5 years, or the premium I'm going to make by entering this field is going to allow me to pay this off within a 60-month period. Not a problem. The problem you have is now these amortizations are 15, 20, 30 years. I mean, you borrow 150 grand in debt, you pay back 450. I mean, it's going to be. That's the problem that I see is that the global problem is that financially it can cripple you. And you got.
Well, I think the other problem is that with the number of women in the field, they go down to part-time. And so then you're paying back that much debt with a part-time.
Yeah.
Salary.
That's a much bigger issue, but problem. I mean, just student debt generally. But I think, as vet med goes, it's just, it's something I think that the industry has been very slow to recognize and address, and they've probably waited a little too long to address it.
So your advice to the veterinarian's partner would be make sure you have a financial plan.
Yeah, I'd say have a financial plan and know everything. I mean, go into everything eyes wide open and everything on the table.
Yeah, and the school will tell you. The school will tell you what each year's estimated tuition is going to be. In some schools, like I know Purdue has done it. Let's advertise for the Boilermakers, I guess. But they've frozen tuition for a decade now.
That's good.
It's a big deal.
Yeah,
it's a
big
really
deal.
big deal, and it makes it affordable. So.
Well, and I think that, to that point, though, I think that they probably look, I mean, they have really smart people looking at this stuff going, if this trajectory holds, either you're going to have not enough, at the very worst, the quality of applicants going to go down. Yep. It just will.
Yeah.
So what is the future of the industry, and how does, does the cost of admission, this crazy inflation that's been experienced over the past 20 or 30 years, how does that negatively affect the industry going forward?
Yeah.
Because people at some point can look at numbers and go, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to do this. I mean, I don't think you'll see, this is the prediction of mine, I don't think you'll see the inflation going forward that you've seen over the past couple of decades. I just can't imagine it costing $500,000 to become a vet.
Woof.
Yeah.
Well, but if you maintain that trajectory, that's exactly what you're going to see.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I know when Emily was in school, I mean, it's a solid 5-6x.
Yeah.
And you just can't have that. $1 million, become a vet. I mean, come on. So I think that they're looking at those numbers and going, that's why this isn't going to work going forward. We have to do something to mitigate that.
Yeah.
And the other problem with that is the expensive education, but the lack of veterinarians in general servicing our communities and our animal populations is already dire. We're seeing, I think, less and less of a adequate supply of what we have in demand when it comes to veterinarians.
Depending on the field too,
equine, small animal,
yes,
small animal probably has much more veterinarians available to it, which is why we're seeing corporations come into it and squeeze margins out of it. But the real important, and I'm not saying small animal is not important. It's highly important. They're a part of our families, but agricultural care is highly important because it's feeding the country. It's feeding large swaths of the world. And I mean, we've got to continue to feed people and get food in mouths. And that's obviously an important part for the community. So my advice is if you're a partner of someone going into vet med, make sure they're passionate about it and make sure that it's something that they truly are going to love practicing, make sure that they shadow, make sure that they do their research, and they're not just someone that literally thinks they're playing with puppies all day, because it's a stressful, difficult, tough job, and it's not tough on one of you, it's tough on both of you. And it worked out for us. We figured it out financially. We're lucky I'm older than you, and I had been working for a few years.
Marry an older sugar daddy.
There you go.
No.
That's our advice.
There you go.
Let me reinstate that. I was also a poor man when we started dating, so definitely wasn't that. But no, I just think learn to cook for sure. And realistically, it's a career that's really necessary and needed in our communities, and you're just going to have to be willing to do more work in supporting your family if you want to have a family, or more homework if you want to have a home that you need to take care of. And it's going to look a little different than the traditional family model that we've seen over the years. So I think we're used to that change, but you guys kind of are a model of that, right? Richie probably knows how to cook pretty good compared to
not as good as her.
But
okay.
You know how to cook decently. I would say I know how to cook. I can follow a recipe.
Yeah, I can do that.
I can follow a recipe. I know how to boil water. So
be willing to cook.
There's a blog. I was pulling this up because it's hilarious. It's kind of a joke, but it's incredibly true. I think the blog it's on WordPress. I think it's called Claws Carefully Sheathed. And it's called The Husbandry and Feeding of Veterinarians.
Yeah, I've read that.
Yes.
It's really funny.
Yeah.
It's from 2015, but it's got 10 different points that are all very salient to, if you're with a veterinarian, you need to know this, basically. Like, like they can eat right after seeing blood and poop, like all
Yes.
like prepare for public events with your new veterinarian to be uncomfortable. Like, yeah, they're like Labrador retrievers in many ways. Like, yeah, despite their pedigree, your veterinarian may not be able to tolerate human bodily fluids.
It's a funny blog.
Some phrases that should never ever come out of your mouth. The term "real doctor."
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
yeah,
You know,
it's pretty good.
It's good, but it's like a good read because it's all in jest, but it's all true.
Yeah.
Like when your veterinarian gets home from work, approach it carefully.
Approach it.
Yes.
Gosh.
But,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, in general,
Patience. I mean,
it's a partnership. Like if you're going to be together, and veterinary medicine takes a lot of your mental capacity, physical capacity, and emotional capacity, and it's just a lot to understand and deal with, and you have to be patient and listen and learn and be willing to
Go along for the adventure.
That's right.
along. Yeah.
More so than other professions. Would you think yes to that?
Yes to what?
Like if your spouse were in another, like say they're a lawyer or something. I mean, do you think that vet med is unique in that regard, that you need to be, you know what I mean? Or do you think that?
Yeah,
it's
I
just,
mean,
do you think,
I think it's unique because
or just
it's
career generally,
I think it's such a passionate like
right?
profession in
So
general.
involved.
I don't know any
personally involved.
veterinarians who aren't highly passionate about
Right.
the animals that they care for and tend to really care for other people and want to serve others. And that's why, you know, they've been bullied into not making as much money as they probably should over the past few decades. Like, I think that, yeah, it's definitely.
Oh, don't get me started on that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Come on, you should be doing it for free.
That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Don't you love
I'll
animals?
bring it
Don't
back
you
to
love
fun.
my animal?
You should do it for free.
A lot of veterinarians do it for free. Equine veterinarians don't get paid a lot of the time, right? Like
It's a whole different world.
Net 30 standard terms, they're like net 90. So, I mean, it really is a tough profession, and you know,
It is
you guys
tough, and
put
it's-
your hearts into it.
Yeah, it's very tough. I mean, hats off to the people that do what they do for what they do it for, or you know, historically, and yeah, for the education, the cost of education, all those things. That's probably more an industry issue that needs to be addressed collectively. Yeah, I've had thoughts. I've used. I mean, why I think that is, but yeah.
There we go.
There we go.
Learn to cook.
Learn to
Learn to
cook.
cook.
Learn to cook.
Rice and
That's
beans,
what it
baby.
comes down to.
Learn to cook your rice and beans.
Mhm.
And
I do
approach
think,
us
though,
carefully.
despite the challenges, I'll end on this note. I do think, despite the challenges, there is people still respond to positive value add and a unique experience. And I think that there is a lot of upside in the industry still.
Mhm.
For people that approach the industry from a 30 or 40 year, you know, that perspective, probably not. I think that value add is very different today than it was back then, but there's still a lot of room, you know, to grow and move from, you know, financially and from a business standpoint, if you go in and offer something that's unique.
Faux
Good
show.
advice.
Faux show. Okay. Wow. We did it.
We did it.
What
It
a
was excellent.
special episode.
You guys
Thank
are
you
great.
to our
gonna
men
be
for
your-
To our
being
men.
here.
Least viewed.
Oh,
That is not
no.
Starts off strong.
This is his dream.
Mayday.
He's always
Mayday.
wanted to talk into a microphone. He's like, I could use my voice to talk and sell. And
Yeah, if somebody would pay me just to speak for a living, I would absolutely love to do that.
Harrison, what are the TikTok comments going to be on this one? Oh, God.
That's
Oh.
right.
There we go.
The eye candy's going to bring the views,
That's
baby.
right.
Are they doctors? No way.
Okay.
Oh, gosh.
Outro, you got it?
Okay. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Veterinary Roundtable. Remember, send in those questions and be sure to follow us on all social media platforms at All Star Veterinary Clinic. If you enjoyed this episode or a previous episode, leave us a review on your podcast provider of choice. Happy holidays. We'll see you all in the new year for the next episode.
Woo woo.